Officially. All right. Appreciate everyone joining. I know we'll probably have a few more folks trickle in as we get started. But I think this is an awesome session. Again, we want to thank Toni and IU Health for their participation. And Toni, to you, thank you again for taking the time out to do this live. I think doing these presentations live give, gives folks a chance to engage and ask questions. This is a very important topic. A lot of people have asked questions about this topic in the past from our community at different events that we've hosted. So when you stepped up to speak on this topic, I felt very excited to have you. And again, we're very appreciative. So with that, I'm going to let you go ahead and get started. So
Okay.
again, folks, we have Toni Collins here from IU Health. Speaking on overcoming imposter syndrome, strategies for confidence and success. So, Toni, take it away.
Okay, thank you. And excuse my notes. I'm so sorry, but I will be talking to you and also reading my notes too. Well, my name is Toni, and I work here at IU Health for the Department of Opportunity and Success. But before we begin, I'd like to, check in and just kind of have a mood elevator here. And I'd like for you to just I think you can put it in the chat room like how you're feeling. So here's my mood elevator here. It says grateful, wise, patient, sense of humor, depressed, angry, hostile. Hopefully you're not feeling any of those. But if you could just take a minute to maybe put in the chat how you're feeling. Okay, so we'll move on here. So I'd like to tell you, like right now, I mean, I'm feeling really appreciative because I'm getting to speak on a topic that really resonates with me. So I'm really excited to get a chance to share with you, and hopefully you'll take away a few pointers that will help you. So this next slide here, I'm going to talk about just a little bit about myself before we dive in. I'm a native Houstonian. I've been in Indianapolis for 1 year, and I was an educator for over 15 years. Now, I have three adult children, and my twins are 28, and they are living their best lives. And I have my youngest son, he's 19, and he's a sophomore at Howard University, majoring in mechanical engineering. I enjoy journaling, and I'm a bit of a news junkie. And one of my hobbies is singing, and I absolutely love learning about new cultures. So let's get into it. Overcoming imposter syndrome and strategies for confidence and success. So, understanding imposter syndrome. So, I did a little research on this myself. So, what is imposter syndrome and who experiences it? I'm going to touch on this today during this brief session. I would suggest you take notes or jot down any nuggets that may apply to you. Imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern where you doubt your accomplishments and you have persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud despite evidence of success. This is particularly prevalent among college students and new graduates who are navigating new environments and responsibilities. And some of these thoughts are like, I just got lucky. I'm not as smart as they think, or soon they'll find out that I don't belong here. Now, listen, these thoughts can undermine the self confidence and hinder personal and professional growth. So, understanding what imposter syndrome is and recognizing the symptoms is the first step towards overcoming it. And that's what we're going to dive into today. So, imposter syndrome can affect anyone. I mean, anyone, but it is especially common among college students and recent graduates. You may face new academic and professional challenges, which can trigger feelings of inadequacy. First generation college students may feel pressure to succeed. And, while high achievers and perfectionists, they may struggle with unrealistic expectations. I myself, I was a first generation college student, and I remember putting so much stress on myself because I thought that Everyone had all of these high expectations of me. And what it did, it just added more fear and stress and anxiety and more fear of failure. So, but listen, the transition from college to the workforce can be overwhelming. As new graduates, you may feel unprepared or question your qualifications. But recognizing that imposter syndrome is a shared experience among peers can help normalize these feelings and reduce their impact. That's really important. So you have to know that, there's always someone there that has experienced what you've experienced. So don't feel ashamed. So this next slide, we're going to touch on some insights of how of the signs of imposter syndrome. So right here, it says signs of imposter syndrome. Common signs of imposter syndrome include chronic self-doubt. I've experienced that, so I know what that feels like. This will have you believing that your success is due to luck rather than ability, a fear of being found out, or overworking to prove your worth, and avoiding new opportunities due to fear of failure. I've experienced all of this, the fear of failure while I was in college and even after graduation. I don't want any of that for you guys, so that's why I'm here. So here are some examples of how these behaviors can manifest in academic settings. Okay, the first one being hesitating to participate in class discussions or in professional environments, declining promotions or new responsibilities. But recognizing these signs is crucial for addressing imposter syndrome effectively. The key word here is effectively. By identifying the patterns, you can begin to challenge and, most importantly, change your thought process. Now, here's where my research began, and I had no idea that this was like a real thing, that there were types. But Dr. Valerie Young identified 5 types of imposter syndrome. Now, as we go through this, I want you to pick out which one that resonates with you. Okay. So the first one here is the perfectionist. Now, this one sets excessively high goals and feels like a failure when they fall short. Let that sink in. The expert. This one feels like they must know everything before starting a task. And then there's the soloist who believes that asking for help is a sign of weakness. The natural genius who expects to understand things quickly and feels ashamed when they struggle. And then the superhero who pushes themselves to work harder than others to prove their worth. Now, understanding these types can help you recognize your own patterns and develop targeted strategies to overcome them. I'm not ashamed to admit I'm very vulnerable, but I'm not ashamed to admit that I embody the soloist. Even after all these years, I still find times where I struggle to ask people for help, but I'm learning that it's okay. You don't know what you don't know. So, this next slide here, impact of imposter syndrome. So, this slide will focus on the impact on students and new graduates. Imposter syndrome can significantly impact the mental health and academic or professional performance of college students and new graduates. This can often lead to increased stress, anxiety, fear of failure, as I mentioned earlier, and fear of rejection. You may find yourself avoiding opportunities such as internships, leadership roles, and public speaking. You may also be reluctant to pursue personal and professional growth opportunities. But understanding the consequences of imposter syndrome, you will see the importance of addressing it early. And again, I love my keywords. The keywords here is addressing it early. So by doing this, you can begin implementing strategies that will make it easier to begin to tackle this head on. Strategies to overcome imposter syndrome. I'm going to share with you a few ways in which you can begin to normalize the experience and, most importantly, reframe your thinking. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So, one of the most effective strategies to combat imposter syndrome is the fact that you can normalize the experience here. So, as students and young professionals, you've likely experienced feeling like an imposter at some point. Talking openly about these feelings with friends, mentors, or counselors can help reduce the intensity of these feelings. Recognizing that self doubt is a common reaction during periods of transition, such as starting college and entering the workforce. But talking about it can help you feel less isolated and more empowered to seek support and begin to turn a negative into a positive. And this is the one that's really important to me, that I think it's the most important, is to reframe those negative thoughts. It's your brain, it's a powerful tool, okay? But you can still overcome these negative thoughts. Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, individuals can adopt, like yourselves, can adopt a mindset of saying, I'm learning and growing, focusing on effort and progress rather than perfection. And this will build resilience and self compassion. This shift in perspective encourages you to view challenges as opportunities for development rather than threats to your own self worth. You have to practice self compassion and recognize personal achievements can significantly reduce your feelings of inadequacy and foster a more positive self image. Building confidence and success. So, I'm going to touch up on how you can track your wins and take action and build support. Keeping a record of your accomplishments, both big and small, is an effective way to build confidence and counteract imposter syndrome. Maintaining a journal, this is what I do. Saving positive feedback from professors, peers, and managers, and reflecting on personal growth can help reinforce a sense of competence and achievement. This will help you recognize and see your progress, and it will also validate your efforts, making it easier to internalize success and reduce that self doubt. Celebrating milestones, no matter how minor, contributes to a more positive self perception and encourages continued growth. Like I said earlier, I journal and I try my best to write down one thing that I've accomplished that day. And and here, I mean, I even have yellow stickies that I place on my bathroom mirror with words of affirmation, because sometimes you really just need to encourage yourself because there's no one else around. And it's something that I've done recently. I've created what I call a success folder. And so what I do here is I take all of my emails, my notes, my documents, everything that reflects praise about me, my achievements, and my milestones. And I place them all in that folder. And so on those days when I'm feeling discouraged, and we all have those days, I just go and I open up that folder and I'm reminded that I am on the right track and I have to keep forging ahead. That's really important. Just don't give up. So, this next slide here, I'm going to talk about how you can take action and build support. So, this is really important. So, you have to be intentional about taking action. So, build your support system and use it. Consistency, it's like a theme for everything, but consistency is one way you can build your confidence. Surrounding yourself with a good supportive network will keep you motivated and uplifted during those days when you're not feeling your best. And we all have those days. Lastly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. It took me a long time, just like I had mentioned before, to stop viewing my mistakes as failures. I struggled with this for most of my college career, and it carried over into the workforce. This does not have to be your story. It's imperative that you begin to change your mindset. Start looking at your mistakes as growth opportunities that build resilience and grit. How are we doing so far? Some thumbs up in the chat.
Excellent.
Okay. Great. So seems like it's gone by pretty quickly, but I mean, I feel like I can talk on and on about this, but as we wrap up the session, I want you to take a look at this slide really closely, okay? So what it does, it summarizes the strategies that will begin to help you overcome imposter syndrome. The first one is mindset and self-awareness. Now, when you feel these thoughts creeping into your head, you should refocus. And you can do this by simply remembering what you've accomplished that day. And for example, like how you finished that assignment for class, or how you worked on that deliverable for your leader and you were able to meet that deadline, or by opening up your success folder that I know you guys are going to build out. Skill building and preparation. Be intentional about investing in yourself and being your own advocate. That's really important. Some days there may be no one around who can speak life into you. You have to be able to do that on your own. Support and connection. Talk about it. Don't be ashamed, and remember you are not alone. Chances are, like I told you before, the person that you decide to share with has experienced imposter syndrome at some point in their life. And last but certainly not least, remember to give yourself grace. This part is really hard for me. And I don't know about you guys, but I can go on and on with my friends and my family, and I can just, give them so much grace and show them so much empathy. But then when it comes to myself, I'm really hard on myself. But we need to learn to turn that around. Okay. Remember that we're all evolving and we're all navigating this thing called life. And we need to learn to give ourselves grace the same way we do for our friends and our family and our peers. And lastly, try to incorporate some daily self care for yourself, no matter how small it is. But take care of yourself. It's really important. And this last slide here, if you want to dig deeper into imposter syndrome, I provided a resource that you can reference. So maybe you want to take a quick picture or write it down. This is I started reading it, but it's own your own greatness, own your greatness, overcoming imposter syndrome, beat self-doubt, and succeed in life. And there's the authors here, Dr. Lisa Orbe Austin and Dr. Richard Orbe Austin. I'd like to end with this slide. This is one of my favorite quotes. I can't remember who it's by, so I hope I'm not stealing it from anyone. But it's be who you are and be that well. Thank you for joining my session. I'll stop sharing my screen in case you have any questions.
Yeah, if you have questions, feel free to use the raise hand feature here within Zoom. Tina, thank you for the awesome. I'm sorry, did I say Tina? It's Toni.
Toni, that's okay.
That's my fault. Thank you for the awesome presentation, for taking the time out to share with us. To our candidates, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll do my best to keep up.
Okay.
Better yet, if you want to use the raise hand feature within Zoom, I can try to grab some of your questions there. But I see a question here from Joy.
Okay.
When applying for leadership roles, especially one that has all the description of skills you already have, but the quoted pay is really high, can you speak to dealing with imposter syndrome in that kind of a situation?
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you read that one more time? I want to take this all in.
Yep,
Okay.
no
I'm
problem.
ready. Okay.
Related to, let's say you see the perfect role, right?
Okay. Right.
But that role has all of the descriptions of skills you already have, but the pay range could be so high that maybe it's a little bit intimidating. So how do you deal with that kind of a situation where you may have imposter syndrome because the pay range seems so far above where you might currently be?
Hmm. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I would say just do your research. Do your research, of course, but I wouldn't let that keep me from applying for that job. Because You never know what actually could happen. So, um, and don't underestimate, your worth and your value. And even though you may not have all of the skills necessary, I mean, there's still things that you can actually do to get there where you need to get. But I wouldn't let that keep me from applying for that job at all. And you know, but you have to continue also, just like what I touched upon, continue to invest in yourself. That's really important. So, get the help that you need, take those classes that you need, hone up on all of those skills that you need for this important job, and if you think that it is too much, well, put it off for a little bit. But still continue to do those things to build yourself up so you can have the confidence to reapply if you need to.
Excellent. Okay, so I see someone that has their hand raised to ask a question. Renardo, if you'd like to ask that question.
Yes, so I'm a returning citizen as far as coming out of prison. Um, I very much appreciate your session. It was very helpful because trying to get back into this competitive job market has been a struggle for me. So I've done 11 years, but I didn't waste no time as far as doing that time. I actually took the time to learn another language, which is Spanish.
Oh,
I tried to keep up with as far as my field of study that I used to do, which was electrical, as far as a journeyman's license. So I just need some tips as far as gaining the confidence back, as far as not only marketing myself, but as far as inner self, as far as just being able to get out there again.
well, first of all, I need to just say kudos to you. I mean, that's absolutely remarkable. And also learning another language. Oh, wow. I mean, I don't even want to talk about that
I
because I
had a
took,
lot of help as
yeah.
far as study
Mm,
books and everything.
well, yeah, I understand that. I mean, I actually studied another language for 5 years and I still don't know how to speak the language. But that's my issue. But so wow, I mean, that's amazing. So I would say again, just continue to build yourself up. You know, keep speaking life into yourself. Um, do things like I talked about the success folder, write things down, always journal. I mean, I journal and it just really and I journal and I track all of my wins, because there's so many times that we have losses, but let's track our wins. And you can go back and you can draw up on that. And so I know when you get into those places where you're not feeling that great about yourself, I mean, you can go back and you can look at that and say, hey, I am on the right track, and I'm like literally so proud of you. So I don't I don't know what else to say about that. You are
I appreciate
amazing.
it. Thank you so
You're
much.
amazing. Yeah.
Um, it was just as far as to be competitive in this job market, after serving that much years.
Yeah.
And so it was really a lot of dedication. And also it was just a motivation as far as to even push further.
Yes. And it seems like, I mean, you're already on the right track as far as, you know, you you were away, but you still continue to invest in yourself. You're out now and you're still continuing to invest in yourself. I mean, you're far ahead of the game than a lot of people. And so I would say just continue on that track.
Mhm.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me add
Thank
two things
you.
about me.
Okay, please, please,
Let me add,
thank you.
yep. To that question and situation, I would also encourage you to consider, this might not be your thing, but to consider starting your own business in something that you're interested in. Even that if that might not be your thing now, or maybe it's not for your future, I would consider it. The second thing I would say is consider smaller businesses to work with. Because sometimes when you have a really big company, they have policies, procedures, the person that you're talking to is not the decision maker, or they might be falsely the decision maker to screen you out of opportunities. Whereas if you approach some smaller businesses that need help and that are growing, you might be able to talk to the decision maker who cares more about you and your intentions as opposed to your background. And, everybody has a past, right? So working with smaller businesses, you may be able to talk directly with decision makers that can give you a chance or help you get your foot in the door or give you good advice as well on how to get into their industry. So I just wanted to add that for you. Okay, I see another really good question here for you, Toni, and that is from Brianna Robinson. She said, how do you suggest addressing imposter feelings when working in environments where managers are very critical and feedback is limited?
That's a hard one. Okay, well, I mean, and if you want to interject, Will, just come on
Happy
and
to.
do that.
I'm
Um,
happy to.
please, thank you.
That,
Okay,
that is a hard one.
it really is.
But in your presentation, you spoke to people um, working on themselves and building up their own confidence. So when I first heard the term imposter syndrome, I kind of didn't understand it, and I didn't quite relate to it. And I came to the conclusion that because of my experiences and my surroundings, my family, my personal situation, I was kind of built up to be resistant to this imposter syndrome. So sometimes if you don't have that from your environment, you have to go and build yourself up and believe in yourself, and you have to be your number one advocate despite what everybody is doing and thinking on the
So
outside.
true. Yes.
So we can sit here and tell you and give you advice, but the reality is you have to be responsible for your building yourself up and believing in yourself and being your own best advocate, and sometimes stepping out on a limb, because what you want is sometimes on the other side of that barrier of you reaching out and getting it, and having to take that initiative to get it, even though there's the barrier, and that barrier might be those managers that are very critical, or you're not getting that feedback, but you have to go for what you want. So sometimes you have to push yourself to get over that, but to be your own best advocate and believe in yourself.
Oh,
But part of
absolutely.
that is what Toni said in the presentation of building yourself up and working on yourself and growing in your capabilities and skills.
So important. It's so, just to piggyback off of that, it's just so important to continue to speak life into yourself, because like I mentioned before, there may not be anyone around that, that can do that for you, but you can, and sometimes I find myself, I'm just like, even today, I mean, just in true transparency here, today I'm walking from the parking lot to my job here. And I was just talking to myself, you got this, Toni. You can do this. This is going to be a great day. You are brilliant. You are kind. I mean, I was speaking life and I was speaking out loud. So hopefully, I mean, no one heard me so they could be like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with her? But I was literally speaking life into myself because I needed that.
Awesome. Larry, I see you have your hand up. Did you want to ask a question?
Thank you, Will. I actually just wanted to kind of make a comment to some of the questions that have been asked, because I read a book recently about, because I just finished my MBA and I'm trying to get into consulting. So I read a book that kind of talked about imposter syndrome. And one of the things that the book said is, so imposter syndrome is a feeling, and you can overcome it with action. So basically, it's like a spectrum, and at the at one end of the spectrum is anxiety, like extreme anxiety, and at the other end of the spectrum is confidence. So imposter syndrome is what happens when you are extremely anxious about a job or a position that you're in. And to overcome that is to be at the other end of the spectrum, which is extremely confident about the job or the position you're in. But the book also said that you don't want to be too confident about the position that you're in, because being too confident can sometimes make you a little bit lazy, or can sometimes make you a little, so and so, like, so you don't work too hard. So
Really?
so they were arguing that being a little anxious is a good thing,
Mhm.
right? Because so basically overcoming imposter syndrome is finding that balance between being too anxious and being too confident. So just being somewhere in the middle. Because I've actually experienced that, because um, a year ago, I did an internship at an investment bank, one of the top banks in the country. And I went to a pretty good school, so I was very confident about the job and about my abilities. Um, but I didn't end up getting the job offer because of that. And so that was a little bit of a blow. But so I went back and kind of researched the whole thing, and that's when I started to learn about that imposter syndrome. But so I'm definitely like a living testament to what I'm describing. So on one end, you have anxiety, being extremely anxious. On the other end, you have being confident, and you don't want to be too confident,
Mhm.
but you don't want to be too
Yes.
anxious, somewhere in the middle. I'm sorry?
I get
Let
it.
me add something to that.
Okay.
Yeah. And the way to move up and down the spectrum is through actions. So I agree that you can, speak life into becoming a little bit more confident, but typically, actions is what does that. So you're anxious when you're in a position that you feel like it's too much. For instance, if you're not a runner and then someone invites you to run a marathon, and then you go, and then you find yourself among a group of people who run marathons. You've never ran it. You're gonna feel out of place. You're gonna feel like a fraud, because you're gonna be like, I don't belong here, right? But so the way to overcome that is to do things that will move you up the spectrum to make you a little bit more confident. Say you start by running a mile every day, or you run maybe half a mile. After running 1 mile and 5 miles and 10 miles, you're going to be a little bit more confident. Then the next time someone invites you to come run a marathon, you're not going to be as anxious. You're not going to feel like a fraud. You're going to be like, oh, I've ran a 5K before, I've ran a 10K before. So you're going to be a little more confident. So you would have moved up the spectrum a little bit, not through by speaking. I mean, you can speak life into yourself, but doing those little
Yeah.
actions and capturing those what do you call it? Low-hanging fruits. Those little actions that you can do, can make you a little bit more confident about your abilities. And that's how you move up the anxiety spectrum from being completely anxious to being a little bit more confident.
Appreciate that.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
PR man, did you want to ask a question? See the hand up. Might not realize what your screen name says. Did you
Sometimes
have?
I accidentally put that hand up, but yeah.
All right. Let me see here. Okay. Um, yeah, I was going to add to that last point. Like I was kind of on the confidence spectrum as well, but I understood one thing that kind of tapered that, which was when I went into corporate America in a corporate environment and I'm working a job, I understood it wasn't my company and it wasn't my business and I wasn't the manager or the leader. I was the person that got hired to do a job. So all that confidence I had where I didn't experience the quote unquote imposter syndrome as much, I knew I had to prove myself. So as much confidence that I had, there was some anxiousness about, okay, I think I'm good. I can do this, but I got to prove it, and I want to prove it to myself at the same time. Because it wasn't my business. I didn't run the business. They hired me. I got to show and prove. So that was definitely some good insight there. So we've got about 3 more minutes. If we've got any more final questions in the chat, or if anyone wants to raise their hand using Zoom, let us know. Appreciate you. Toni, if you want to talk a little bit about IU Health and what it's like to work there, just in case anyone is interested in career opportunities there.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I am, like I said in my slide earlier, I am a native Houstonian. I've never lived anywhere else. And so I did something really brave and I dropped my last child off at Howard and I accepted the position here at IU Health. Um, it has been a whirlwind. We were previously the Department of DE&I, but now we are the Department of Opportunity and Success. We are still here. We are still doing the work. Um, but it has been a whirlwind. I have learned so much. It has been, for the most part, really, really fast paced. And so when I get home, I have to soak it all in and then I start over again. But the work is it's amazing because I mean, and I don't want to sound too morbid, but if we didn't do what we do, people would actually die.
Mhm.
So it's really important, and I really take that to heart. And so, but IU Health is an amazing company. We have 40,000 employees, and what I actually my job that I do just myself as systems HR, but I support 6 of our team resource groups. And so that is all of them LGBTQ plus, WIN, young professionals, disability advocacy. And yeah, it's just a wonderful place to work. And so I really enjoyed it. I'm coming up on my second winter here. So we'll see what happens. The first one I did survive. I did want to rethink my whole life, but I was able to make it through because I like the heat. So, but yeah, it's a great company. It's a great company. And right now, we're really recruiting nurses.
Mhm.
So you can apply for anything, but right now we're really on the hunt for some really good candidates for our nursing program here
Excellent to know.
and to hire nurses. Yes.
Awesome. We appreciate you. Toni, thanks again for presenting on imposter syndrome. We really appreciate you sharing your insight and experience and for being a presenter live for our candidates. So thank you again. And for those of you all that are interested in the opportunities with IU Health, they have a booth in our career fair. So you just go to careerfair.hbcuconnect.com, go into the exhibit hall and check out their booth and chat with some of their reps. And also on the website, I'm sure you can get access to that from the booth as well for all of their career opportunities. So again,
Yes.
Toni, thank you so much.
And thank you guys for all of the things that you put in the chat. I'm gonna go back hopefully and I can maybe answer some questions. Am I able to do that?
If you
Well,
but we can share the chat with you, but I
yeah.
encourage people to maybe connect with you via LinkedIn if you are okay with me sharing that.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. And then there's my email address and then the LinkedIn, that's fine. It's just under Toni Collins. This is great. Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Take care. The name of the company is IU Health. There it is. Thank you.